This is Due by Friday, a weekly challenge podcast with Alex Cox and Merlin Mann. This week's challenge, try Obsidian Again.
Now I'm recording. Hello.
Hello. How are you? Main show.
Main show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our new show about Maine.
What a nice place that I've never been.
LL Bean, and they've got their. I think they're nearer to Canada than I am.
I mean, they have Stephen King as well. I don't know if they're emotionally as close to him as you are, but
Why do you say things like that?
Say things like what?
You make observations about my life. Why do you do that? How do you feel when people do that about you? Do you like it when people make observations about your life? Or just speculate things about how you are?
I think I take it in good faith and hope that it's a way to think about someone who lives a life different than them.
It's such a good point. Because, I don't usually share those kinds of things about you. Or, confront you about it.
What is something lately you would like to confront me about?
I mean, nothing in particular. You're obsessed with escalators. You only eat beans from cans. You own 3 hats.
That's not true.
Really? The things that I'm speculating about you are just made up things that I'm just stipulating for no reason?
Well, I am obsessed with escalators.
The guy who hit him, of course you are, and trains. When the guy hit him with his van, he was going to town to get some of them Maz's bars. Maz's bars. And the dog, there was a cooler full of meat the dog got into.
I think this show is popular enough that we could get Stephen King. I do. What, is this another thing? Am I speculating about Stephen King?
You know what?
I think he's an easy get.
I think as of right this minute, I'm going to try a new thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is I'm going to, what's the phrase some people use? And I don't know if this is a bad or discredited thing, the as if thing. I'm going to act as if everything you say makes sense for a while. And I'm going to try and inhabit that world and see if I can sort of back into a kind of, some kind of a corseted sanity that I could find within your world. Lace it up.
Squeeze.
The reason I'm thinking about that is I just bought something that I didn't really need because it seemed interesting, and that's paracord. Paracord is one of those things, once you're in the weirdo community, like, do you know about paracord?
I do, but I'm not part of the community.
Yeah, well, neither was I. But, people are always talking about paracord. It's really important. And, you've got to have some in your, go bag. You've got to have some in your survival kit. You got to have some in your outsider tech bro bag. But you use it for all kinds of things. And didn't Google it. I went to the Dingus and I asked the Dingus, what's the deal with paracord? And I finally figured I should get some. So I got some Type 3 550 paracord and I'm learning about it.
What's the deal with paracord?
Why are people talking about this? Pack your own chute.
Paracord. It is it's the thing with the little hooks on the end where you strap stuff down, right? It's another kind of man strapped down.
You're so close.
All
right,
right,
hang on. Do you want old Merlin or new Merlin? You want fresh Merlin or stale Merlin?
I want fresh. I want one.
Okay, here comes the fresh one. Yeah, that's exactly what paracord is.
Okay.
Most other people call it bungee cords, but paracord is the actual name.
What's
bungee.
Now, I know that there's different strengths in the threads, right?
Yes.
But is there also ways to gauge the bunginess of it?
Okay, hang on. I need to drop.
Stretchiness, that's the word.
I can't hear my voice. Am I really losing my hearing? I am inferring, perhaps incorrectly, that the name comes from something involving parachutes a long time ago. And so, you need string, you need rope. I watched a really good YouTube video about rope recently. That it's one of the great technologies. It's how the first, I think the first toy in the Toy Hall of Fame was either a stick or a box.
Ball on a stick, yeah.
No, just like
a ball and a
stick.
stick.
I remember like in the early days, it would be like, Barbie and, BMO or whatever. And then like they'd always have a funny one where you're like, oh yeah, that's really true. And one time around 2000, early 2000s, it was cardboard box was added as like it got the Thalberg Award for like toy of the millennium. Cardboard box stick. Now rope, we've been using that for millennias. And that's why you can't afford a house. You keep spending all your avocados on paracord. But the point is, rope is a tool. Use it. This stuff, I think part of what, you know what? I'm not going to say because it doesn't matter. I would be saying it to please people. I would be saying it to impress people who don't know or care. But I would, in doing so, infuriate people who, for whatever reason, do. So I got some, and I've been dealing with it. And it's interesting. You can use it for things. I used it to tie up my shower curtain.
Oh.
It was becoming unmanageable.
May I ask
Yes?
how you kept
special
your
day.
shower curtain up before? I know, yay! Well, you did think it was my birthday, which I just let that.
I didn't think it was your
like,
birthday. My calendar thought it was your birthday. And I went and looked, and it actually was literally the wrong date, and I don't know why. Oh, you know what it is? I think it. What's the phrase that the gentleman in government used? I think your incorrect birthday got sucked into my contacts. I think is what happened.
Oh, I take a lot of compute to, put all the dates
Absolutely.
on.
It's a big spend for a pretty large ask.
Big spend. Big,
Heavy
big
lift.
Ask. How did you lift, let's say, the shower curtain up?
Oh, we have a shower curtain that I love. Do you want to talk about my shower curtain?
Yeah, briefly.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Madeline surprised us a few years ago with a Jaws shower curtain that I happen to adore. It is a licensed, co-branded Jaws shower curtain, and it features, the way a shower curtain will have like a repeating pattern on it, like a wallpaper type situation. And this has little tiny bits of scenes from Jaws.
Okay, that's cool.
It's pretty cool. And I love that. Now, I think my wife and I might differ somewhat on what we're looking for on the liner, as you say. Like the liner we have now is really nice. It's high millage, very high millage, which I like. Like nobody likes a flimsy shower curtain that like sticks to your leg, right?
Oh, no.
But you ever been in ever have like pardon my saying, a shitty shower curtain? It just flies around, no magnets, nothing's doing nothing. And
absolutely,
I
think I think I've had millage privilege in the hotels I've stayed at.
Yes.
Like a lot of lack
you know
of
what it is?
magnets,
It's an unconventional fancy because it
is.
does not cost a lot. I don't know it off the top of my head, and I'm not going to look it up. But if you get a thick ass shower curtain, it can be very satisfying. Some people have just that. They're out there like Uncle Baby Billy, just hanging brain.
Oh,
anybody can see in the curtain. I'm not talking about water skiing. Anyways, and so and I like it fine, but when I take a bath, which I do a lot because I think I have a cold inner core, what I'll do is I want there to be more light. And so I push the shower curtain all the way to the side, but it's still because of the millage, I think it expands a little bit. So I tied some paracord around that. Oh, by the way, my family's out of town, so I can do things like tie paracord around the shower curtain.
Ooh, all right. That gets rid of my other question.
No, please.
I just was
What have you done to
wondering-
upset your family this week? Moving on to America's fastest growing game show. How's Merlin freaking people out?
I thought
That
it
would
would
be
be,
a
I thought it'd
lovely
be easier if we.
segment.
I put in an ice chest in the bedroom because it's cooler in there.
All right, that makes sense though. It might be you just did an unconventional fancy for your family.
Tell me about it.
It makes sense because if
they
it's
won't
a
like that. They don't like
room-
things tied around things. That's like, well, okay. So like, I think I told you. I know I've told you about my friend Chris Coldren, who next to Dennis Gephardt looms largest in my mind as like my most sort of, when I say memorable, I just mean in like I've got a million stories or funny things that Chris Coldren has said. Like I finally with Dennis, I finally made that a list. Now I think I need to do it with Chris too. But Chris had a project one year. He worked at New College over the summer doing maintenance. It was a pretty good gig because you got a full room, like a 15 by 15 room to yourself, and you worked like right outside your front door. It was mostly like painting rooms and stuff that wasn't too stressful. But Chris would always have, like myself, Chris had projects. You know how I have projects?
Yes,
I'm all about projects.
So he was an early pioneer in the project.
I think there's so many ways Chris has inspired me. I mean, Chris has been very inspiring to me in many ways. Most of them, I think, good. But he decided at one point he was going to get rid. How can I put this? Chris had decided. Now this is new college. 15 by 15. That's bigger than you think. That's usually 2 people live in that room, unless that's a fair amount of room for a dorm room, and a private bathroom for everyone.
Yeah.
So 2 people sharing a bathroom, not too shabby. That's where I cooked. I cooked in my bathroom, and girls love that. But anyways, Chris decided. I want to phrase this so carefully. Chris wanted to be able to see everything he owned at once.
Oh.
So let me give you the upshot.
Dream.
This is so your shit. This is so your shit. But let me put that a different way that gets to the specifics. But the core principle was I don't want to own stuff I can't see.
Yes.
Or conversely, I want to get rid of fucking everything except for what is visible if I turn 360 in my room. And so Chris, in part, this is what got Chris, another thing women love, this is what got Chris into hooks. And Chris getting into hooks is what got me into hooks. And you know who doesn't like hooks is almost every woman I've ever known.
Huh. Oh, that's a shame.
I had all my shirts and I had my baseball cap and everything but my comic book hanging on the wall because I was inspired by Chris. I learned a lot from Chris. And so I have a lot of those kinds of things. But I've realized, there's certain kinds of ways my mind works that are not going to align well with how normal people think. And you can't force them to live in that environment any more than they have to. So I'm not going to tie up the curtain after they get home. I'm not a monster.
You know what? Huh. I think they're being a little bit... do you think they're being a little bit Merlinist in this case?
No, It's in order for me to navigate the world, let's just set aside whether I'm happy, as usual. We'll just set aside all of that and look at like what I need to do to like not get in everyone's way. And like I'm really actively, most of my effort every day goes into trying to stay out of people's way, and to produce useful things that nobody notices that I did. As I slip into further and further irrelevance. It's like a warm blanket of loneliness.
Oh, that's
the
very
warmer
upsetting.
it gets. Yeah, the
a
warmer
joke
it gets,
for
the
that.
more lonely you are.
Oh,
It's hot in here. That's what Nelly said. He was the guy with the Band-Aid. We've got a lot going on here, a lot happening. Today I'm listening to Pavement. And what else were we talking about? We were going to talk about my shower curtain, my paracord. How are you doing?
You've answered my question.
No,
I'm
sorry.
doing
It's your
great.
day. It's your special day. It's Hildebrandt's
Do you
day.
have-
You do say whatever you want.
Do you have
you ever see The
a
Favorite?
list?
You see The Favorite?
I've seen bits of it.
Okay.
That's the gay one with they fight for the
Sure.
queen.
But you learn a thing in the second act. And by the way, I think my new thing about spoilers is going to make me even more unpopular. Hey, you know what? If you like The Favorite, you would have seen it by now. So shut up. We learned that the queen, the great Olivia Colman, has lost a lot of, has had miscarriages of like every child. And I mean, it's a lot of kids that she's miscarried. And what we learn, I think, at some point in the second act is she has all those rabbits. Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm.
And every rabbit, she has a rabbit for every child that she miscarried.
Yeah.
And then there's what she does is, in turns, she gives each rabbit a special day with lots of care and love and stuff. And at one point she says to Rachel Weisz, "Today's Hildebrandt's Day." Isn't that sweet?
No, I mean, yes.
Oh,
It
I've
sure
seen
is
weird. I've seen much
special.
weirder. I've seen much weirder.
I didn't say it was incredibly weird. We all
Like
do
when Tim
weird
Heidecker
things.
brought Tom Cruise Jr. back. I don't know if you remember that.
I do not. What?
Oh, it's not. It's just it's the most long form unwatchable series of all time called On Cinema at the Cinema, and it's Tim Heidecker and Greg Turkington doing movie reviews, but much more than that. And a lot of the stuff you've seen from Tim Heidecker in the last 5 years is actually kind of part of that. Like Tim Heidecker on Trial, that's the end of a whole bunch of things that went horribly wrong over like 5 years on Cinema at the Cinema. And his son, Tom Cruise Jr. died because they refused to vaccinate him. Or possibly it was because of the vaccines that Dr. Sand gave him. I'm not recommending this, but if you ever wanted to, you could go to YouTube and find like There's a 5-part series where somebody's put together every podcast, web series, short film, music video, everything that's ever in chronological order. But even better than that, which I will find for notes, is somebody explaining what the fuck On Cinema at the Cinema is and why it's interesting. Now, if I found that and put it in notes, would you look at it?
I've got an internal debate going because
Well, externalize it.
Tim Heidecker has gotten not weird, but
Have you watched him like recently?
yeah,
He's actually kind of funnier than ever. He looks really healthy. And Vic Berger sits in the back typing for some reason.
Yeah,
And it's funny because when he has a guest, you can see how he modulates his weirdness to the guest, which I really admire.
He modulates to an audience that isn't me anymore. That's fine.
Sure. You probably aged out of it a little bit, at least.
There's a lot of disclaimers. He's kind of.
Well, is this something problematic?
Oh no, the opposite.
Okay.
He really doesn't want to be problematic in any way.
I don't know anything about that, but I mean, you're the one who would know, so I asked.
No, he just really, not quite land acknowledgments, but like comedy acknowledgments of the people he's never found funny. And I don't know.
I don't know anything about
off.
that. I just watch him do comedy.
I would like to do that as well, but it pops up.
Do you know who Greg Turkington is?
I've heard the name. I do not.
Have you ever seen or heard the comedian Neil Hamburger, the world's worst stand-up comic?
I've heard you say that name.
So Google Neil Hamburger and just find a photo of him. He's far better known by this character that's been around since the 90s. Actually had albums out on Sub Pop in the 90s. And he is the shorthand for this might be think Andy Kaufman type performance. It's an old school, like 50s, 60s style, shitty stand-up comedian in a tux with a really, really, really unfortunate comb over.
I'm really like, this comb over takes some dedication. That's impressive. There's a lot of either product or bodily
His culture's
grease
not your costume.
involved.
Anyway, I'll find that. I'm a big fan of Tim and Tim and Eric. Talking about ridged chips.
Where does Eric? Where's Eric? What's he doing?
I don't know, but his face probably looks like this right now. Making my Eric Wareheim face. He has one face that he makes that Madeline and me always laugh every time we see him make this one face. You know the face I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Eric Wareheim. I love to laugh, and I spend a lot of my day just cloaked in loneliness, just trying to laugh. Does anybody remember laughter? Eric Wareheim.
Bring back comedy. Bring back comedy.
Yes, I understand. You are become meme. I know. Okay, so that's all good. Brought in some headlines, and now, how are you?
That wasn't a headline. I'm great, but did you write down a list? I kind of cut off your list.
Of what?
Last week, you had a list of I think topics. But I had to...
because you wanted to jump straight into Mickey 17. Well, let me go back to drafts. I'm in Obsidian over here, and now I will go to drafts. Oh man, The Wedding Present. I love that band. Let's see what I had last week here. I'm typing DBF, and I'm gonna find this. Let's see, what do we have? Oh, all I had was, I have a little bit of follow-up. I haven't sent you your bell yet. It's all packaged up. I just need, I'm procrastinating because I got tickets at the store. I don't know how to do that on my own. I would love, so we're gonna talk about Obsidian this week, yes?
Ooh, yes.
Okay.
Wasn't
that the challenge?
I thought it last minute had been changed back to tattoo.
Well,
but
that's what I was going to say. Can we
trying.
start talking about tattoos a little bit?
Yes,
All
absolutely.
right. That's all I had there. I
Yes.
haven't sent you the bell. What else did I have for things to talk about? Not too much. Stephen Yoon, Not All Tree Nuts, Randy Newman. No, I think Ed Kemper. No. And so when you put show notes together, quick, what's wrong? What?
Ed Kemper is. I don't know.
He had some issues dealing with his mother.
He did. I love the voice. I shouldn't love the voice.
Why? Well, voices are funny. Robert Pattinson, he's got a funny little voice.
I mean, that was the best part. Well, no, the tardigrade things making the dumb faces. That was probably the best part of
Oh,
Mickey
right.
17.
Ooh, those things
Spoilers.
freak me out because I thought they looked like tardigrades too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when we first started seeing tardigrades on the internet, and I didn't love it.
Yeah, that was like a 2008 suddenly.
I mean, yeah, it's just
tardigrades became a
yeah,
thing.
but it was like they kind of looked like it was like a bug, but that was designed kind of like the Michelin Man, not in a wholesome way.
Oh, I disagree. That oh no, that
Also, I don't
was,
think we say tardigrade anymore.
Yes,
We say
you also are become
differently.
meme. No.
Look at me, I got a
no.
cheese hat.
No what?
Elon Musk spent millions of dollars trying to get a conservative judge elected to the Supreme Court in Wisconsin. That person lost the election. And he was on stage on Monday appearing in Wisconsin to promote this conservative who was just the sweatiest fucking candidate you've ever seen in your life. It was so sad. And you know, in like somewhat surprising, it was $100 million race all told. That woman, whose last name is Crawford, won pretty decisively last night, despite all the spend, as you say. But he appeared Monday. And I'd just seen, you know, video without audio of it, like on CNN. Yeah, he appeared on stage in a cheese hat. And then on Michael Barbara's The Daily yesterday, I think it was the one, I heard what it actually sounded like when he talked. Hey, Alex, off the record, that guy's not okay.
No.
Have you heard him talk lately?
Yeah.
Is
I
he
mean, not
like that?
in
No,
the
is
past
he-
few days,
But like,
but-
no, but like, is that how he talks now?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like that's not how he talked a decade ago. But
No. I mean,
That
one
man
maybe I don't know. Maybe they picked a bad one, or I was in a weird mood. But
no.
But
no,
he sounded
it's
he
like
sounded
all the time.
shredded. I mean, he
Yes.
sounded like he was. It was like the last act of the Truman Capote, Ryan Murphy series. Except it was his usual thing. Also, why can't he grow facial hair? What is?
I have a theory about
He's
this.
waxy. He's waxy, and then he doesn't like to shave, but it grows so like disparately. It's gross.
Yes.
He's so gross looking.
Well,
Also, he's like
here's-
60, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I have decided that it's okay for me to talk about Elon Musk's appearance.
He'd do it to you.
Because and
He'd try. You look hot right now. MB sent me a photo of you two. It was like, man, hachi machi. Look at these two.
see, I think that
MB.
Elon Musk looks like hi MB, hello. He looks like a pre-op trans man that has
Okay.
an ill-fitting binder and has just a really low T count. Like it's just very embarrassing. But look at
I'm thrilled with the direction that went.
Merlin.
I
Look
could
at
not have
this, look at this.
anticipated that, and only you can say that. You get away with that.
Yes, but I have a photograph to send to you. Don't worry, it's not upsetting.
Almost everybody in Trump's cabinet has weird skin, and if you start sending me photos, I will send you a close-up of Tulsi Gabbard.
No, you
I will
have
do
sent
that.
me
I will send
so
you.
many
No, I will send
pores.
you Tulsi
There's no
Gabbard.
pores in this. There's no pores in this photograph. That
As
I've
in
sent
people
you.
who don't have money. This is so cute. You look like you're in a dance class.
Yeah, I do. Yes, that was at that was at Editor Quinn's wedding, and just
That's a horrible photo.
very.
I hate both
we
of
have
these.
a very similar body type, and I get to claim this man
I don't.
because
What?
he
What?
looks.
You don't have a
no, he
sweat-
does. He
Okay.
looks like a just someone who has not yet learned how to dress and is just like buying. His like funny T-shirts, like tech support, and it's those shirts that you buy at that I definitely bought.
I mean,
at,
for
like,
me, he's the
comic
human
conventions.
personification of a guy who brings a guitar to a party.
No, he's much worse. No, that guy, the guy with the guitar, there's some heart. Like not all
I
of them
understand that,
just
but
wanna
like he
fuck.
came in with a plan, and it's rarely the first time he's brought a guitar to a party. That takes a kind of unearned confidence that not every man can find, but many do.
I agree.
gave my love a cherry that had no stone. I gave my love a chicken that had no bone. Thank you, Elon.
Oh, I don't like that. Oh, I
Now
don't.
do classical gas.
I don't like that this man occupies my brain space. It's one of the.
Interesting.
I'd like to avoid a lot of things. Kind of.
I'm just bored with
But
it.
what was wrong with saying I was bored?
Oh,
with
that's the thing.
things?
That's the thing you compulsively say instead of the fact that you're angry at people. You say you're bored with it, and you say it over and over. Tulsi
No,
Gabbard.
I said it one time. In fact, I should find
No,
it's not here
not
but transcribe things. Yeah, no, because I'm pretty sure I said that one time.
And if you found that, what would it prove, Alex?
That I don't compulsively say it
So
because
if you find one example of you saying that, that'll prove you said it once.
yes, because I
Okay.
don't.
Then how would we know that there weren't other times?
What do you mean? Because
Well, that would mean like,
if I-
that would mean
what if I
like me
release-
saying I've only ever taken a shit once in my life, which is 5 minutes ago, and here's a photo of it.
well, but what if you had a camera in your bathroom that had hours and
I'm
hours
listening. Of hot footage,
exactly?
hot shitted
Yes.
footage.
Unfortunately, apparently the two things that aren't allowed on OnlyFans happen to be pee and poop. No biohazards, actually. So I guess that includes violence.
No spit?
But
People
no.
love spit.
Right? Yeah, right.
I heard choking's
But
big. Everybody's talking about choking now. I didn't know choking got big.
I did. Well, I think I.
Chris,
it
oral
was-
sex has gone mainstream. You know what choking?
God.
Do you know what choking? Are your friends choking?
You know what? I don't know.
I don't know.
glad
It's
that
just
I
interesting how it
don't
came
know.
along. Choking was not a big thing, as I recall, when I was younger.
I
No, I mean, I
Don't-
don't remember a lot of people being into it that were talking about it.
I wasn't talking to anyone about anything. Like I was not talking about hand things. I wasn't talking about oral things. And
Yeah.
But I keep, you say I talk about headlines,
I
but
did that.
there's got to be a lot of. You've got a scene. You.
Are we back on my bathroom
You
camera?
must
Where are we
have-
right now, Alex?
All right. No, I was going to say that the bathroom camera, unfortunately, I don't know if there's any way for you to profit from this because OnlyFans.
Oh, I see. Okay, and you were making a
Yeah.
headline joke about OnlyFans. I see.
No,
Okay.
it wasn't a headline joke. I recently listened to the OnlyFans episode of Flightless Bird, and it was
Oh.
very good. But yeah, you can't do water sports, and that disappoints a lot of people.
Have you seen his new
Bummer
look?
for them. No, I have
He's
not.
got a look.
David Ferrier.
He's got long hair and he's kind of blonde. Go look at the YouTube channel.
David Ferrier.
Yeah, that guy's cute as hell. I love that guy.
Uh,
Anyways,
him.
and I
Aw.
love his friends that he calls. I love that woman. Is it oh, shoot, who's the woman he always calls? Rosabelle or something? Is the woman he always calls? He's really, are you calling me for the show?
Wait, is this, hold on. Are you talking about, I don't know who you're talking about. I thought that
David Ferrier?
was Jonathan. Yeah, not Jonathan Goldstein who calls Jackie. Who does David Ferrier call?
At the top of every episode, he calls a friend of his in New Zealand, different friends, before he
Maybe
gets
I haven't-
into talking to his buddy.
You know what? I have listened to a bunch of old ones before.
Oh,
he
you got
got
the squirrel
kicked off.
rabies one? Done squirrel rabies?
No,
That's
this
the best
is before he
episode
got
of the
kicked
show.
off.
That's what
the
I don't care about that. I don't care about that.
I
It got-
do.
Okay,
I
well,
do.
why is it relevant? Why is it bringing a headline in again? You're
Why
doing it.
isn't I didn't bring a headline on it. I just care that a niche show that was on a now multi-million-dollar network was just like, nope, you're not in our feed anymore because it's
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
too much of an ask for
it's a
our
good point.
advertisers.
So
You said you were going to pretend things I said made sense. You really
I
didn't
did for a
commit to the
while.
bit. You didn't.
No,
You
I
didn't.
did. I just did it for as
No.
long as made any sense, and then you started doing that thing where you just talk about things that are in the news,
I don't.
which is
You-
we're producing a show so people don't have to think about that all the time.
You
I
mentioned what you were watching
I did.
on CNBC. Why?
Yeah,
Why?
I'm a huge CNBC fan. I can't get enough CNBC.
I'm
I'm always watching
MSNBC.
business
I don't know
news.
the name.
Yeah, I like the one
don't
with the
know
stock man who hits buttons.
Uh.
I'm so subsumed in your idea of whatever it is that I am. Greg Torkington. Am I saying his name wrong?
I don't know.
Greg Turkington. I had Torkington. That's not right.
Greg
Yeah.
Torking.
Oh man. Anyway, I'll send you. Won't have to watch the whole series. I haven't watched the whole series. Jesus Christ, hope to shout. It's one of those things like rewatching any kind of show where you gotta kind of take it in chunks.
Unless
You know, and
adolescence,
it's really
you just
not
watch it
anybody's
over and
style.
over
It's
and
not a
over
show I
again.
could recommend to really anybody. There's nobody I know that I could recommend this series to. You know, at least when the guy builds the boat, you know, there's progress and stuff, and he's got a girlfriend, and there's dogs and Poncho the parrot. But anyway, that's Greg. Boy, that is an amazing comb over. I know it's a comedy comb over, but it's still so goddamn funny.
Is it real? Is this how?
Yeah, well, he's. I mean, you can tell from the like. So here's what he actually looks like. Copy image. I'm clicking. There's you and Elon Musk. I'm clicking. I'm pasting.
He
Yeah.
has Polish baby bearing hips. It's just
He has Polish
Shocking.
baby bearing hips.
yes,
Oh, the one's hyphenated.
huge hips. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just shocking. Yeah, and surprising. Okay, you're clicking. You're pasting.
No, I already sent it to you.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I don't know what you want to talk about. You're the one who's got it all figured out. I'll just follow
Alright.
you. It's your show.
Oh, that looks like a happy man.
Well, you got to see him on the show. He's very funny. He and
it's
Tim
a-
don't really see eye to eye on what the show's about.
Every
Every time I watch it, it makes me want to eat popcorn. Popcorn's a big part of the show. But you know what? You'll get everything you need from that video that I find for you. Oh, and there's a picture of him when he was in Ant-Man. He's the guy who runs the Baskin Robbins in Ant-Man. That Paul Rudd works at the beginning. It's a really good movie.
Man.
So what else did I have on my list? Hey, everybody, we should talk about Obsidian. That's very cool. And what else did I have? I don't think I had too much else on the list from last time. I apologize that I haven't sent the bell. Anything else? What's going on in your neck of the woods? I'm doing all the talking here. What's going on?
I just keep watching Adolescence, and I am surprised how people are reacting to it. And you had very, very strong feelings about it, but you didn't express those feelings. Other than that,
I had to
it
save
is a
it.
gift. And
I
you
have to
had
save it for a
the
show that
thing.
won't come out for 10 days. But no, I would love.
Alright.
No, please, just
What? I just agreed with
be
you.
with me.
I know. I said,
God,
all
everyone's
right.
always guessing things.
I'm not guessing anything. I said, oh, all right. Oh my God, my voice is. I sound like such a. On
What?
this show, I sound like such a girl because I get defensive and I go.
Oh God, that's so
lot.
shrill.
I know. Yeah.
I would love to hear what you have to say, and I think I can talk about it. Do you want to talk about it here? Yeah, we can talk about it here if you want.
I
Because you
just.
sound like you're pretty fired up about this, and there's something in
Oh,
the
no.
discourse you're mad about. It sounds like.
No, I'm not mad. I just watched.
Okay, use your words.
What is
What's
a
the deal with
phenomenal-
adolescence? So you watched the whole thing. It sounds like.
Yes.
Have you tried it without
2
subtitles?
Yes.
It's so much more intense to me.
It.
Because you realize, I was saying this
Yeah.
to Squidward last night, that, there's no 180 shots in this because of how it's done. And so, like, I think especially in the third episode, there's very, to say there's long shots in this, but there's those shots where Jamie will be talking, but the camera is on the woman the whole time. And I mean, that's not quite the same as like knocking a door down, but it's incredibly tense. And the thing is, what I realized in a very obvious way, I guess, is, I mean, I super needed the subtitles the first 3 times I watched it, or at least the first 2 times. The 4th time I watched the first episode, I turned them off, and everything seemed so much more intense. Because, I love subtitles, and I always have subtitles on, but I do sometimes turn it off for things like comedy, especially if it's wordplay comedy, because reading comedy is not the same thing as hearing comedy. The thing I said to John is, I think it's beneficial. John never has subtitles on for anything in English. And I was saying, I think it's valuable because, for one thing, they give you a lot. If you got SDH or CC on, you'll see things you probably never would have heard, even with normal hearing. That somebody wants you to know that, like it's in the script. You know what I mean? Somebody like off to the side, especially with this show, what's happening. But wait, what were we saying? Oh yeah. But yeah. Anyways, yes. So you watched the whole thing and then you watched it again.
Yes. The first time, actually, I didn't. I just happened to not have subtitles on because I was watching it on my phone, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know how to turn subtitles on this," and because Netflix has that thing where it's like, "This isn't a device." Anyway, but one thing people know what I'm talking about. Netflix has a device
I don't have an
limit.
opinion about it. I just noticed that Netflix has the same shrill, girly voice that you do.
Yeah, oh, yes.
I don't know this is a device.
They have. They've got a lot of vocal fry.
When are you gonna buy me a fur coat? I want to go somewhere I've never been before.
God.
Try the kitchen. Not only was that an old Henny
Will
Youngman
Bell.
joke in the 60s, it was a very old Henny Youngman joke in 1990 when it was in Goodfellas, and I've just repeated it again. Please.
It did it well.
So,
The one of the best things about this show is how they put microphones everywhere, and obviously, the actors still have lavs for backup, but from
obviously.
even just the interview with, what's his name? Amazing
Baskin?
Dad, who's a
Is it
co-creator.
Bill? What's I forget the character's name. Stephen Graham's the actor.
And he intentionally had microphones everywhere so that they could pick
So you've
out...
like learned about this. It sounds like.
Not a ton. I didn't really. I don't. It's not that I don't care about the filmmaking. I just.
That's half of what I had to say last night. Is can we please stop again? Tech headlines. Can we please stop focusing on whether it's quote a real oneer? Can we please stop with this shit and please focus on the aesthetic decision of directing your attention in the way that this does?
Yes,
that's the point.
That
is
is
the aesthetic
why. Right. That's why the sound. Reading about the sound choices. So I guess I have kind of, because it's like, yeah, I don't care about what people have to say about whether or not it truly is a cinematic masterpiece. I'm like, I mean, well, talk about tech headlines. People really want to lean into a little bit of the moral panicky
Oh,
stuff.
interesting,
and-
because that was the other half of what I had to say last night.
I truly
My
did
takeaway
not...
from this is extremely different from
Oh.
almost everybody else's takeaway from this.
My immediate takeaway was just, you still laugh when you're going through a murder. Ooh, that's
Yeah.
a fun New York Times game.
We learned this from Alex
her-
Jones. Remember all the crisis actors and the Laughing Father?
Oh yeah,
Well, that's how the whole thing started. Was him making fun
I
of.
forgot. I mean, yeah, but I don't know. Just people still have days when you still love your family when you're living under tyranny. Like in jail, you still make friendships. I just adored every moment of
too.
humanity and happiness. That is what.
Well, like how he mentions in an episode. Oh, this includes spoilers for adolescents. I really don't want to spoil this, but when he's talking about how people talk during Coronation Street, it's like, well, yeah. I mean, like you're still going to talk about that stuff. The thing I said to Syracusa, and because I first realized I thought differently about this because Madeline and I think really hugely disagreed. I can't speak and won't speak for her, but I think she tends. I mean, she thought it was just a phenomenal show on its own terms too. But I think she's a person who is more open to the idea that kids get phones too early, and there's the two big panicky parts. I think you could, at least I would define as the, because bullying sure didn't exist before phones, but the kids having phones too much too often. What if phones but too much? But then also the manosphere stuff, which seems to be a couple of the big takeaways for everybody but me. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm saying this is neorealism. That's what we're watching. This is like Dostoevsky. It doesn't matter what the thing I find myself screaming and ranting about, not because of John, but just because we were kind of agreeing. I was like, you take any durable story from the last 20,000 years, and all good stories are about something. But you don't usually keep reading them for 1,000 years because of what they were about. I mean, I realize The Crucible is not from the 1600s, but like the Crucible's not really about witch trials.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it were, we'd still read it and understand that you could put in like $TK issue. You know what almost every story is about? Something inexorable coming along that changes everything, and we find how that changes people. Or if you're me and you're being really dead fucking honest and you really do accept this as a kind of realism in the literary sense, life is fucking impossible for almost everybody at least some of the time. And terrible shit happens, but you still have to keep living and dealing with it. Which is not a very fun way to pitch it. But you know what I said to John is, and I had to confess, as I confessed to Madeline, I think not seeing this as something about phones in the manosphere helps me enjoy it so much more and makes it feel less like an after-school special. Because if you'd pitched me on this as being a thing about the manosphere, I wouldn't even have turned it on.
Absolutely. I
don't think that's the point.
Truly
They seem to think that. Even
think-
Stephen Graham seems to think that's the point. I do not.
No, but I disagree. I listened to that Fresh Air interview thinking like, what? I'm like, what is his like take? And
I thought he was doing a lot of speaking
he-
out about the issues.
No, he talked. I did listen to the whole thing because he mentioned. I listened. I was, how this started was because there was a murder of a young boy murdering a young girl, and then the same thing happened a few months later, and he's like, how is this? He's like, oh, it must be the parents, and he thought, wait, let me like just
you're talking about D.I.
try
Bascom in
empathy.
episode 1. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, you're talking about Stephen Graham.
Yeah, like
Okay.
his initial motivation, just thinking about what this would be, and then it became instantly about how do we go about living our lives when something terrible happens, and how do we still love the
I
people
feel like
we love.
there's so many things that you can, should, will, might take away from this. And I will just to be super clear, I'm not saying that's not a legitimate reading of this at all. I am saying, are you sure that's the only or nearly only reading of this? Because there's a whole lot more on screen in this that goes way beyond,
Right. Like
a pretty rote solution for why kids are screwed up.
Right. There's a part where
Why is Lisa okay and
this
he's not?
isn't. Yes, there's a point where they do address the man like Andrew Tate stuff, but it's more in the context of we don't understand our kids, not what if phones, but too much. I like.
But then they're beating
literally
themselves up
didn't
like any
think
parent would. I saw the light come in
Yeah,
the door. It was 1 a.m. Like
we
you
thought
just
he was
tear-
safe.
you-
Killed
yeah,
me
you tear,
over
you tear
again.
yourself apart about every way you could have been better. And not to spoil the rec diffs. Well, I'm not going to talk about it all because we got John's take on this. I thought was really, really smart, and I don't want to spoil it. But, yeah,
I just kept
the storytelling. My God.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it as someone who is on the obviously not to the violent extent of what happened here, but even in high school, my parents trying so hard to figure out like it's like, well, wait, like Alex gets good grades, like what honor roll, all of these extra
Yeah, it's like they slid
activities.
they slid this fairly. This happens to a lot of people. I think I don't know. I think of something like you think about an overhead. Did you ever have overheads here? That's probably before your time. But where you have like transparent, plastic you can draw on before whiteboards. It was an easy way to like be on a scroll, and you have a light shining up, and then projects that onto the screen. And it's like I feel like there's almost this overlay we put over somebody, and like it could be an overlay as simple as like a round rect and a tree. And you're like, as long as there's a round rect and a tree somewhere in this image, we know everything's okay. And it's like, well, that is so not how it works. Just because you've got good grades and haven't caused problems. I mean, I don't know. Because there's always this post hoc thing where we want to go back and turn everything over and try to find the story that shows us what somebody did wrong, what we can do to avoid it. And that, to me, is a huge part of what separates this from so much other popular mainstream storytelling is I would not say it's nihilistic, not at all. But
No.
it is very well. Some people I think would watch that 4th episode and think it's nihilistic, perhaps.
Really?
Well, I don't know
Wow.
because it's like he just wants to get the day back, right? I love that phrase he
Yeah.
keeps using. But like I think I'm not saying it's hopeful. I'm not saying it's nihilistic. I'm not saying it's either. I'm saying it's really more like a Werner Herzog movie in some ways. Like what is almost every Werner Herzog movie have in common? It's about somebody struggling against some part of nature or life, the world, existence that they have absolutely no business trying to fight, and nature will not even notice them being wiped out because that's what the world really ultimately is, which I think should count as a form of literary catharsis. To me, the way I would, just off the top of my head, one way of thinking about catharsis in the literary or dramatic sense is like the second part is you get to have a feeling, but the first part is you realize the feeling exists. You can't feel the feeling, really. I mean, you can feel it, but you'll be real confused about it and yell at people for no reason. Catharsis in some ways is going like, it's not just me. Like everybody's facing all of this all the time. I find that such a more interesting message than kids have phones.
Maybe it's
The story will
because-
endure beyond whatever happens in this time.
right. That's like there's this video game that you can't really play it anymore unless you either pirate it or find some hardware to play it. Like it's from like
Is that
the
one where you
PlayStation
become
2
somebody's
era.
daddy? What was that game we played?
Yes.
Who's your daddy? What's it
Oh
called?
no, that's
Daddy Lover?
Dream
Daddy Boy.
Dream Daddy, where
Daddy
you
Boy.
are a single father and you're trying to date another dad.
Yeah, you gotta pay for that with money.
It's a fun game.
You play the
That
new
is a
version of
game
Daddy
to
Dude?
play.
It's really good. You
And-
pay money and you act like you're a dad who likes girls.
There's
I don't know where he finds all that time to work out.
a,
He's a daddy. Stephen Graham's a daddy. He's that guy's little
he
fire
is.
plug. He's on my height list. My kid's taller than him. I should add you to the list. Why don't I add you to the list? I'll do that right now.
the daddy list.
It's a video game you can play, but you probably
I do
have
not
to.
claim daddy.
Video game you can play, but you probably have to steal it at this point.
It's just called Bully, and it's about exactly what you'd think. And
What, you get points by bullying or by... is it-
both. You are the
Oh, I see.
bully, and you
Got to
know,
min-max,
the
as they say.
recipient.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it's not about it. It's based in there was another version that was like based in an old like turn of the century school, and just showing that it really wasn't trying to be like, look at bullying is a time old tradition. It was more, I think, to sell a more expensive version of the game with like DLC. But I really just coming away from watching this, and I just went to look at some headlines, as you would say, or look at like the takes at where I like reading about media, and I was like, wait, it's about social media. What? And like, yeah,
I mean, I
guess.
absolutely see that as
I
a
was
POV. I
genuinely
just think it's weird
surprised.
that, well, maybe it's not weird. To be honest, maybe it's not weird. Maybe it is. If I were going to be cynical about this, I would say, in retrospect, it's entirely expected that trying to find the story hook for this, one would come up with that as the hook for this. Why are we writing? So you know what I mean? Like in journalism, why are we?
So, yes,
why
I
are we
get
writing this
that.
now? Why are we writing about this thing now? Well, the reason we're writing about this thing now is, oh my gosh, it's torn from the headlines. What if phones put too much? And it's like, that's how it got written up. And that maybe was what the assignment was sometimes. Just all the headlines I've come across are all like, oh God, you're missing the majesty of this show by trying to turn it into an after school special.
Yep, a guide to the adolescence emoji. I'm like, wait, what? Like SVU has been on for 20 years, and they still, they.
It's giving cringe.
It's. I don't know. I'm like, this is a piece of media that I think could have been made at any time. You've already said this, but
Perhaps it is that it could have been made anytime. The point I'm struggling to really say with muscularity is that let's not think about this for a minute. Let's think about like the Iliad Or let's think about, I mean, there's a reason we still read these stories or we still talk about these stories. There's a reason all that mythology still has a role. But just the way these stories keep coming up is I'm struggling with this like 12-hour-old idea of mine of like, hey, how about over here we've got this artistic ability to do what they're doing here and the technical ability and like, oh, that's all just crazy, the storytelling. But the story that's being told here is not that different. Like I said to John, like this could be in the 16th century and worrying that your kid committed a crime because you didn't make him go to church enough.
Yeah.
That could still be told as a great story. The thing that's a big problem to everybody, again, I'll say it again, it's almost always something new has come along in the world. Maybe a stranger comes to town. I'm sure there's some Joseph Campbell PBS shows about this, but somebody comes to town and now everything's different. Could be the Music Man, could be Matt Dillon, I don't know. But like everything's different and people are dealing with stuff that is going to be an intractable problem that disrupts the way that we live. That's what a lot of great stories are. And, you know, I think it would be, I don't know, now we're just, you know, agreeing at loud volume, but like to try in any way to minimize the majesty of this filmmaking, to bring it down to, oh, it's a story about toxic masculinity and mobile phones. Well, it's like, I know, I mean, maybe I'm making a straw man, but it would let me put it this way, it would bum me out if people who might watch this and get emotionally shredded in a way that's useful might avoid it in the same way that how about this? I wish I could just take it. I wish I could tear it off the screen. That goddamn Netflix show. It's not the one with the teens and self-harm, but it's the one about like, it's the Netflix show about how phones are destroying children. Do you remember that? A couple, 3 years ago? Not the 13 Reasons Why. It's after that. But there was a docu-series on Netflix about how phones are the worst thing in the world and our kids are monsters.
I believe, I don't know, but you're making me think of The Social Dilemma, which is
That's
how social
it.
media is so bad and it is
Yeah,
made by the people who made
it. Which is absolutely, I can say this
Like,
as somebody who I am only a dad, and I'm in California. I'm not a Marin mom, but I am a San Francisco dad, and I can sniff it out when somebody's trying to freak me out.
And this is not a few people
people
have asked,
have the ears to hear that version of this. Let's be honest. My wife, Jesus, whom I love, she absolutely has the ears to hear that, you know, we probably gave our kid a phone too early. And I'm like, I don't know, man. It's just how people are. That's how people communicate now. We're the weird ones. We're the ones who need to adapt.
Well, my first thought when I, you know, saw, not my first thought, but I'm like, are the people, it at least feels to me, a lot of the people who take away like this could have only been made in this era, and this is, I'm like, oh, so
you couldn't have made this 20 years ago. Why? Because they didn't have dollies and steady cams? No, you couldn't have made this 20 years ago because you know T9 doesn't kill people.
And but I feel like the people who can't sense moral panics are the people who no one has ever said that they should be afraid of those types of people, and I'm not even just like it, and that's not that insightful, and it also feels like reductive, I think, but I don't know. I guess in 2025,
sometimes our emotions get engaged before our rationality, and sometimes, give me a fucking break, almost all the time, for myself, for you, for everybody, we're so desperately unaware of how often our emotions start trying to find a place for something long before rationality ever gets its pants on. And I think that what you're describing, you put it really well, which is, I'm not trying to say one person's smarter than another, but y'all, you cannot recognize when you're being sold a folk demon, when you're being vended a moral panic. Are you just not aware when somebody knows how to freak you out? I mean, so, you know, but I mean, and it's not that it's a simple thing. It's not a simple thing for anybody. It's like all the falderall and, you know, all the tumult about everything around LLMs right now, where it's like, yeah, like, what if it's worse than you think because you don't even know what you don't understand yet? Like, oh, will I lose my job as a programmer? Will I lose my job as somebody who does spot graphics for a paper? I don't have an answer to any of that stuff. It seems kind of early to start deciding what all of this means right now. But like, if you are not feeling the folk demons and the panics and the like, oh God, I almost said lynch mob, and I absolutely don't mean that. But the villagers with torches, let's put it that way, kind of feeling around LLMs right now. If you don't see that, it's probably because you're really excited to have something to be mad about that other people are mad about right now. There's so much power and there's so much community and anger. This is a thing that I've been writing about, and I don't have anywhere to put this yet, but like I feel like I finally realized how many people don't have anything left except community, anger, frustration, anxiety, and sometimes xenophobia. It's all, and if you think you're, hey, we got our own kinds of xenophobia. I see a red hat and I get weird, but anyways, I'm just saying, like, it's like, man, you guys got to fucking check your six, man. Like, is this really how you want to spend the rest of your life? Is like just finding common cause with other people, finding another stranger to be impotently angry about something? It's a super turnoff to me right now. I should get on my phone.
I think this is. I'm being very. What did you call it? Inside voice.
Oh yeah. My new term. Inside house.
Voice.
I don't know if it'll stick.
Yeah.
I'm calling it an inside house. Or we need a better term. But like, these are the things we only talk about. Like, that never leaves this house.
Yeah, and there's a lot of inside house talking amongst queer people. The folks, especially liberal people, who are uplifting and publicizing laws that aren't actually going to affect anybody, and that like there's more like. It's really profitable to scare people, like we said, but it is.
Also, you don't have to be a transsexual person. You could be a transhumanist person. If you're any kind of person who wants to look at more interesting ways to be a human being, I would be a little bit skeptical about the number of people who are currently obsessed with trying to find out what is, quote, real. And I think we turned a weird corner with that. Like, it was liberals who first started saying fake news, and then that gets to where now that's just something Marjorie Greene says to people. She'll just say, "You're fake news." So that's how that went for us.
Really.
When she gets frustrated and just gives up on the argument she's losing, she says, "You're fake news," and stomps away. But I guess I'm putting out something that's a little bit dark and certainly pretty tenuous. But like, I'm super into the world of possibilities. I think in a allied, if not identical way to the way that you are. I mean, you're interested in at least the idea of transhumanism, right? Like, I'm not talking about the Homo superiors. I'm not talking about like, going to Project X or something. But the new obsession with what is real and what is authentic and what is rustic and what is like, oh, let's fight LLM slop by linking to an independent artist. And it's like, oh, honey.
I'm like,
that is so sweet, and like that's so 1978. Do you really think
White Lotus? I believe it was
Lorazepam.
There was some show that was like, we're not going to put the script online because we don't want to use it to train an LLM, and I'm like, oh, buddy, really?
I mean, and like I don't say that I'm not saying that to be unkind to people. As I said to Syracusa, boy, you could put me on the Hall of Fame of people who were always used to when I was more well known, or my work was more interesting to people. I can't tell you the number of skirmishes that I've had with people you've never heard of, all the way up to giant companies, about doing anything that even begins to make it look like I have a relationship with them when I don't. And that was a really big deal to me. Do you imagine? Do you think I don't understand how frustrating it is to have your stuff gobbled up by an LLM and used in these models? I absolutely understand that, and I think it's untenable. But that doesn't mean... I mean, I look at 6 photos I should send you some of these. The photos that it's generating for me and the stuff that it's able to do that was literally impossible 2 weeks ago. And so we look at that and we go like, oh, Studio Ghibli slop. slop. And you're like, yeah, I realize you don't like it and you've seen too much of it and you're already ready to hate this shit anyway. You think that's the last thing that this will ever do? Do you think we're done now? You think we've reached the end state of this because we've made something that frustrates you because you saw Princess Mononoke once? Are you fucking kidding me? Do you not you're not grasping what's happening here and you're getting mad at something that's already irrelevant. And I'm sorry, but that's true. It's not my day to watch you. I cannot hold your dick while you figure out what the future looks like when nobody knows what the future looks like. Does that mean we turn away and start burning the looms? Like, Jesus fuck, people. You sound like every single person. Like, take out LLM and just use the word computer in 1985. Take out every one of those and use the word spreadsheet in 1998. Because you're replacing all of these precious people and all of their precious jobs with this terrible, terrible Big Brother technology. And in some cases it was, and it always sucks. But like, how is that any different than the way the world has always been? And like, it's just, the problem is though, it's more heat than light. There's not a lot of, you're not doing a lot to improve anything. Except you're showing yourself to be a person who's not regulating their emotions very particularly well right now, and you're lashing out and trying to find other people who lash out. And then that turns into like some kind of a fucking blanket party on whoever's not currently in your in-group about wanting to burn the looms.
I might actually burn the looms. That's not what he did. And that's not why. Also, the Miyazaki clip. No, I just don't. I get a little bit grumpy when people misunderstand Lettism, and also they don't know the context of that Miyazaki quote.
You're bored with people who misunderstand.
And it's. Don't you think it is? I'm sorry. Don't you? It is all.
Well,
of
maybe I'm not
Ghibli
understanding.
stuff
I haven't watched that many YouTube videos about Luddites, but it's my understanding that they felt there were certain kinds of encroaching technology that were mostly disrupting. It was partly spiritual, but also a lot of it had to do with economics, right?
Yes,
you're putting people out of work by scaling up things like like wool. Like turning wool into yarn, stuff like that. It was
literally a bunch of warehouses were bringing in looms and unskilled workers and replacing them. And so they were like, oh no, fuck that. They weren't like, fuck the looms. They or fuck the people who
fuck the capitalism.
We can work the looms.
Yeah.
But not even fuck the capitalism. They're like, wait,
I thought I
know how to
agree
work.
With you on. I'm sorry.
No, we do. We do. I'm saying that you know what we do. And the same thing with that Miyazaki quote. And it sucks when people steal.
Mr. Miyazaki, please don't make him retire again. He's what is it? It's the end of life. Is that what he said? Something like that.
The end
tall talk
of
for a smoker.
Human self. That's a long clip of how it's about the dehumanization of human bodies, and completely out of context.
He's a very interesting and very colorful guy, but now he's also your starving African child.
It's also, I really, God, I wish I should make this. I want to make a little compilation of David Lynch quotes versus Miyazaki quotes, because he's always like, I'm gonna kill myself, and David Lynch is like, isn't the world beautiful? Like, their films are just
Can I tell my David Lynch,
delightful.
my apocryphal David Lynch story again, just so I get to do the voice?
Please.
I do this like probably twice a year, and I just want to do it again because I feel like doing the voice. 1985. 86, whatever. Somebody says to David Lynch, "Man, that Blue Velvet's a pretty crazy movie." Frank Booth, that guy's a nut. What's in that tank when he inhales that gas? And you got to have the pause. And then David Lynch goes, "Something that makes him do very bad things." Does that answer your question? David Lynch said it's something that makes him do very bad things. Yeah, but what is it? Why do you need to know what's in the tank? Is it because, this is just my own hang up, but is it because you want to acquire what Frank Booth had and then you can do bad things? Or is it that you want to avoid what Frank Booth has in the tank? Why do you have to know how the Spacing Guild works? There's spice and there's ships and stuff happens and they weave between the stars, and How hard does your noir need to be appropriate? I love hard noir.
That's why I compulsively ask questions about
Meow.
people and not art.
Meow. I have something I ran across in. Oh, fuck, you've already seen it. Never mind. But if you saw. Does ContraPoints have a name? Natalie.
Yes, Natalie
Natalie
Wynn
Wynn.
did an
In the latest-
amazing video about
Okay.
conspiracies
Okay.
and.
Okay.
Wait, what? Well,
Because I was going to send you something I thought was really cool that she
Yes,
mentioned really quickly in passing, but I went and just looked it up and looked into it a little more. Had you ever seen that? This is purported to be, it's a French illustration from 1911, but it's that pyramid of capitalism.
Yes.
I'm gonna send it to you because I found out how I res one. I printed it out. I've got it in a frame on our refrigerator. It's under that. Oh, look at Manda. Isn't Manda cute? That's what she looks like in real life. That's the wife.
Oh, damn.
I know, right?
Hello.
But I love so I don't. You know what? Show notes. I'm going to Obsidian. I got too much going on here, Alex. I got to get back to Pavement. I'm gonna find capitalism. I found out my kid listened to a Pavement song.
Oh, which one?
Do you care?
Yeah. No, I don't care.
Well, this is what's kind of cool. It's from my favorite Pavement release, which is a 4-song EP called Watery Domestic. My kid listened to Lions Comma Linden, which is, as 17-year-olds listening to Pavement goes, is pretty obscure. It's not that Carrot Rope song that accidentally got popular on Spotify. Like, it's a real song. Capitalism diagram thing. But I just love this. The pyramid of the capitalist system. On the bottom is all these people. You know, we work for all, we feed all, and that's all the peasants. And they're holding up a platform of rich people eating food. And it says, so I think the actual translation of this, so they're saying we work for all, we feed all. But I think it says, they're saying we eat for you, but it says nous mangeons pour vous, which I think is probably no food for you. And then we shoot at you. The clerics and clergy, we fool you. The aristocrats and capitalists at the top, we rule you. But above that all is a giant fucking bag with dollar signs on it that says capitalism. I was like, this is such a great infographic in some ways.
It's so
this
good.
should hang in
It's so
schools.
Beautiful.
Like, show me the lie. It's fucking, it's all true.
It's amazing.
Isn't it
When
well
is this?
done?
1747, man.
No,
oh,
this is
wait,
1911.
1911. Okay, I'm
well,
like,
that's
wait.
at least the copyright.
I was like,
yeah.
wait, that's not how people dress. What?
Capitalism
Oh,
diagram.
okay.
I'll find it for notes. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, it's Natalie. She seems like she's like deliberately trying to be a little more chill and not mainstream exactly, but like a little less impenetrable.
What do you mean by that?
No, I think she's. I don't know how to put it, but like she seems like sometimes. A lot of my favorite YouTubers. One reason I like them is because they can say the things that every YouTuber wants to say, but they find a way to do it obliquely, without sounding like a piss baby.
Yes.
I think Alec from Technology Connections is pretty great at that. Because Jesus fuck, can you even imagine? I've seen him talk about his social media experiences. It's like the shit that people say to him. It's ridiculous.
It's wild. Yeah.
People are idiots, and I hate all of them. But
don't you eventually find them boring with? Now I am going to
so
say boring
bored.
all the
I get
time.
so
it's
bored with them.
it gets boring
It
to
doesn't.
hear about
No.
how angry
you say that, but it's
people
because
are.
no, it's not. You're not bored though. You're angry. You're frustrated. You're not getting through, and that's frustrating you.
Two things can be true at the same. Like
No, they can't. You can't land on a fraction. Is he a great man?
What?
Oh, sorry. I was going into Dennis Hopper's speech from Apocalypse Now. I apologize.
I know, and I don't know why. But no, really,
Sometimes
what do
that's
you
just
mean
the
about
only
Natalie
suitable
Wynn's?
reply to something
Oh
you're
my
trying
God.
to say. Go ahead. Please
What do you mean about? Because
You know what?
think,
I don't want to talk about it anymore. I like that
what?
video. Those videos a lot.
I love it because
Oh, it's just sometimes sometimes she is very almost coquettish about what she's actually fucking talking about, and it takes sometimes 30 minutes to kind of get the gist of where we're going with it, and more I feel like she's turned some kind of a corner with, and I don't have an opinion about it, but I just thought she's a little more straightforward than she used to be, and not afraid to add a little bit of context that she might not have given 5 years ago.
Yes, I feel.
How would you have
like
said
she
that?
does. That she
Without sounding like an insult.
Oh no,
That's what I'm saying. The reason I didn't say,
oh,
she's mainstream, she's approachable, she's
No.
impenetrable. That's probably problematic. Everything's penetrable if you're hungry enough.
I was going to say she does not chicken problem as much. Like she still brings
it really
about
doesn't save you.
context.
Hey, that's all good. I haven't sent the bell. Oh, did they change how long you can have your iPhone screen be on? Because I feel like they did.
I don't know.
I even noticed a
phone's
crazy goddamn
wondering.
thing the other day. It drives me crazy when I'm trying to see, like, I don't know, nobody cares, but like sometime between like the prime time, my favorite part of the night, the part I would enjoy my night the most, tends to be the time that I'm most like sort of slightly overwhelmed with dealing with input, which is like between 5:30 and 7. Like there's food deliveries, there's Instacart, there's things happening. We got to get the laundry to the thing, and we've got there's all these like little rallies I have to run in the early evening. But so sometimes if I've ordered like say Instacart and I need to watch it for replacements, especially, I'll set it up on my little Anchor, easel battery and leave the screen on, and it always goes off. I feel like since sometime during the Apple Pay days, they changed. Because it used to be like you could have your phone. Believe me, I know this from my sister-in-law, whose iPad has never turned off in like 10 years. She's already made dinner. They've done the dishes, and her iPad still has a recipe glowing at full brightness in the kitchen. But if you flip on, remember when they added like the Apple Pay stuff and the extra security and I don't know exactly what caused it, but then it was like your phone would only stay on for so long. I think 5 minutes was like the longest.
Yeah.
This is wild. Okay, do you remember that? Like having an auto lock thing that was like, so many seconds or minutes to five minutes.
Yeah,
Do you know there's an auto lock?
adjust
There's
mine
now
to
an
make it
auto lock
longer.
option for never.
Hasn't that always been there? Oh,
I thought you couldn't do that if you had TK pile of security stuff. I would call it Apple Pay. But like if you've got all the logged in stuff where you can do Touch ID or Face ID, it necessarily doesn't want your phone to be able to be on for 4 hours. I thought that was a rerequirement. Doesn't matter. I just think it's neat.
I think it's
It is. I'm glad it's a possibility.
Yeah, because there's like for point of sale type stuff, you don't have the Apple
Like a
Pay as in
Square
like
type thing?
like a Square type thing, or even like a checkout like there's a lot of
Like a farmer's
iPhones
market type
that
situation.
yeah, any of those, and you just need to put in your Apple, either your passcode or your Apple ID to get back into the just like whatever Apple considers the big.
I think it's
at-risk
neat, and
stuff.
it makes me happy. Did you know we're 71 minutes into this episode? Is that even possible?
Oh, so Obsidian, yay!
Let's save tattoos for now. Maybe we could talk tattoos in after show or whatever. But we got to talk about Obsidian. The challenge this week was kind of ours, maybe mine, because is Obsidian still your go-to text thing? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, drafts is still like.
I know.
the
Well, my
thing.
very first thing on this entire list that I made a point of putting at the top of the document is not just because I would never in a million years want to hurt the feelings of Agile Tortoise, but also I'm so thrilled. What did I say? I said, this is my favorite kind of non-dilemma where like I've got stuff in drafts that I wish I could do a little bit differently, or like at least I haven't learned how to do it differently or whatever. And like I loved Obsidian. This is like the third time I've played with it. And the main reason I get off it usually is because I just don't want to get too wound up in it. But I'm thrilled that these are just two of the many options that I have. I could probably be fine living my whole life in notes, honestly. But it's nice to have the option.
It's
and so
so slow.
the
You don't want to. It sucks.
notes. Well, it doesn't
Try it.
sync. That's crazy.
Yeah, that too.
To have to open an app for it to sync? Like, what is this, 1978? What are we doing here? Oh, you got on the plane and you forgot to sync your notes? I'm sorry, I didn't know I had to sync my notes.
It's not. It's like Google Drive. Oh.
Hey, the challenge this week doesn't exactly have a name. I'll figure it out. But it's something like go back to Obsidian or look at Obsidian again. Obsidian things. And Obsidian is an app and a service, a platform that does texty things. And it's got tons of plugins and it's got lots of stuff and it's got syncing and it seems really well made to me.
Yes, and it is.
What is
Can
that,
you hear
please?
that? That's thunder. So can't
That's
help it.
that's
Sorry.
the fakest thunder I've ever heard. That's somebody rattling
Yes, I'm
sheet metal.
faking it.
You are?
Yeah.
No, you're faking it. All you people fake it.
God. Yeah, my thunderous orgasms.
That'll make way for
not
the Homo
real.
superior. Oh, you pretty things. Have you spent a lot of time with Hunky Dory by David Bowie? It's his best album.
Yeah, no,
his best
I
album.
don't
Yeah.
think so.
Right.
Yes, agree.
Yes. It starts with the song Changes, which is also very good.
Very good. There a few big differences from the last time we tried Obsidian.
Oh,
is that I
okay,
think
cool,
out of the box, it's very capable, and you can.
Without doing a million
Just-
plugins.
Yeah, I don't think you need to.
I think
do
it's
any
pretty intuitive, given what kind of interface this is, especially in the settings area. Given like we've all dealt with these kinds of applications where it's like every cool thing you add adds some level of complexity. Like VS Code, sorry nerds, like I love it, but it can be a little impenetrable to like just figure out wait what plugins do I have loaded and what this and why am I updating that and it's just and it's also ugly. This is really pretty and it's pretty intuitive. You can make this thing, you can fuck this thing up real good. You can add enough stuff that it becomes practically unusable. But right out of the box, I totally agree with you. Right out of the box, it works well.
And it is fun to fuck it all. I have fucked up many vaults, and that's part of the fun of it is because you
I just
can
started over.
easily. It's
Like the fourth time I just started. It's just easier to start over. Well, also because I try to leave my baggage at the train platform. Like if I'm going to go mess with something, on the one hand, I don't want to come in with all of my own preconceived. Gosh, another thing I've learned from ChattyG, I don't want to come in with my own preconceived notions about what this thing is for. And if I bring in all my text files that were in there 3 years ago, with all the plugins in the same state, I think you're better off. At least for me, if I really want to look at something, I got to start from stock. And just see what can't I do with stock.
This is my take. Yes, and just have a folder that says archive, and you put all your shit in it, and you can actually.
I just don't want
have
to interfere with the stuff that's powerful that I'm using this for, like the linking ability. I just don't want pollution from a million other files that are called test 3 final or whatever.
Well, and that's the nice part too. I mean, I guess this is still getting a little bit into the settings and preconceived stuff, but you can say, hey, don't index this folder so that, and then you can optionally do it. And
it's a great
more
fucking app, Alex. It really is.
It
would be cynical to like say, any of the things that I might be inclined to say about having too much stuff. There's nothing in this really that you have to see. And in fact, they, as with Reader, in some cases, I think they do a pretty good job of not making you look at every piece of functionality all the time. A good, one of the things I actually think that one of a few things that Mac Whisper gets done pretty good is an inspector that lets you kind of zero in on one. I love stuff like that. Like with this, just show me a side rail thing that's all about links in and links out, or like all I want to see. Like, I mean, one thing this does that I really wish Drafts had. Well, first it's got folding. I love folding, but also it's got just that little index of like right there of like all the, H's, all the IDs in your document. Easy to navigate around.
Yes. And that's kind of why I've been using it. I sort of use this as my like on a desktop, it is my like workspace, and on mobile, it's where I find things.
That feels like the pathway
faster
for me. I love using this on a Mac in particular so much, and I like it okay on iOS, but that's not where I've been focusing my attention. But I think part of the path to that is to say something maybe a little silly. I mean, there's all this stuff. I mean, think about the bifurcated way you deal with all kinds of work, even in like a nearly identical app. Like there's all kinds of stuff that I would, well, at the very least, I would much prefer to do on a Mac, almost everything. And then there are things that I have to do on iOS. But it seems like there's probably some savvy ways to have it both ways. I don't see a lot of shortcut stuff.
The only reason I mentioned that there really isn't. Like there's plugins that you can. Well, shortcuts is all now. All the shortcuts. The shortcuts team got put with the Apple Intelligence team, and it's a big shit show.
Oh, because of USAID, I laid them all off.
the
France.
bring back comedy. It's just fun to say, honestly.
Hey, everybody, look up, look. Oh, wait, that's too German. Hang on, let me see. He's Dutch, so there's kind of a Dutch like Afrikaners. Everybody, look up here. I have a funny hat. Look at me. Look at me. My shirt is very tight. How do you do?
Belgian.
That's not Belgian. What the fuck?
Hercule, this is Hercule Poirot that you're doing.
You read them. You don't listen to
hats.
them. How would you know how he talks?
I do both because
Fuck
I have
you.
watched
You're so full of
Kenneth.
shit. Your eyes
have
are
you
brown.
seen? Okay, have you seen Kenneth? Have you seen Kenneth Branagh's the Hercule Poirot movies?
No.
They're really fun. They're fun.
I heard they're fun for
a
what they
time.
are.
Yeah, they're like not.
I don't have an
they're
opinion.
just fun.
I don't have an opinion one way or another. I just think you cannot glean somebody's accent from text.
I do both. If Hugh Fraser is narrating, then I typically listen. Hugh Fraser, he
what
played.
What does this have to do with what we're talking about?
Because you made Elon Musk have a German accent.
Well, the
then
problem
you changed it to a Belgian
is I
accent.
have a friend named Thomas who I have not seen in 22 years, but I have it's basically Madeline's best friend's husband, and he's this guy who I met over 2 days in L.A., Los Angeles. Probably, I remember I'd just gotten my Canon with the curtain flash, so it would be 2003 or 4 maybe, and we spent like a couple days with them in Los Angeles hanging out, and just everything Thomas said was hilarious.
He's a very big, brusque German guy, and he plays saxophone in a jazz band. But he's always making pronouncements. I don't know, why do people always eat out all the time? Why don't they stay home and have a big salad?
So anytime we make a salad, we have to say,
why don't people just make a big salad?
But that's not how Elon Musk sounds.
Elon Musk sounds more like this.
Honestly, between the two,
God,
pretty close.
I really, it's so difficult to feel this much dislike for somebody alongside so much, not sympathy, but like, what was that? What were you saying? Oh, honey. Like every time Elon Musk does anything, I'm like, oh, honey. Like, dude, you're so fucked up. You know what I mean? It's like, I know it's become really tired, and I personally don't like it when people go, well, I just think it's sad. But it is sad. He's a bummer. He's a bummer of a human being. Mm-hmm. He's obviously he is deeply unhappy. Mm-hmm. You can just tell that, like, I don't think he has moments where he feels good about life, I bet. And he spends every hour of the day like doing whatever his weird thing is and running around and like never having to sit down for a second and like just sit with what a strange world he's created. I also really dislike him personally.
Yes, and
he thinks he's funny and he's not. He's really not funny. I don't think he understands what funny is. We've talked about this.
It's so bad. I know, and it's
so hard to watch.
Tired, but like
he's so tired.
It's so hard to watch, especially
I agree.
Now that his daughter, who's like very self-aware for a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, she's like, I know. And
but go with the most obvious dumb example. There's that wonderful scene in The Office where Ricky Gervais is dancing at the party, and like he's dancing in like a pretty silly way. And then people start looking at him, but it gets crazier, and he just starts dancing harder and harder and harder. And finally, you can hear him. I always remember you can hear him grunting as he's trying so hard to be a good dancer at the office party, and it's so embarrassing to watch. And it doesn't get better; it gets worse. And I can't shake that. Like when I see him walk out on stage with his weird big boy jacket and his funny T-shirt and his cheese hat, he's a 60-year-old man in a styrofoam hat who thinks he's funny. But he's like, oh yeah, whatever. Like he's trying to like play it off legit and be like, yeah, I know this is stupid. That's why it's funny. It's meta funny. No. That's how people talk when they don't know what's actually funny.
It's also very, very upsetting that like his flying, he doesn't even have as many flying monkey or is like any, I guess, I don't want to say smart, but like he only like retweets the same like 5 people, and which is so.
You think his world's kind of small in that way?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I don't know how you are that.
I mean, you glom on to people who say the sorts of things that appeal to you, and I mean, I guess that makes sense. And you know what? Let's not talk about that. Let's finish this up, please. Just because we're running kind of long, we still have to do another episode.
I like
go ahead.
Obsidian a lot. No, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to keep the show moving.
Oh no,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that there, because I know that you don't always acknowledge it, but there are other people who listen to the show,
Oh, that's cool.
and folks who
Not just me.
say yeah.
I like our show. You know that. You know I like our show.
I certainly hope so. I'm the biggest fan though. And the
You didn't
thing
show up
that
for
a
all of them.
lot of people I
I don't doubt your commitment to Sparkle. on
gone
the show.
for a year. Obsidian is way faster than it used to be.
Oh yeah.
And
In terms of like
it's-
sync stuff, or just like if you're talking about like on iOS, click, boom, you're doing stuff. It's not. There's no like waiting for it to do stuff.
Yes, and I agree with you. It's optimized for Mac OS and no, honestly, any desktop.
I feel like I might be able to live with that.
Oh,
Because
well,
that's
no,
where
but
that's where most of my day
Uh-huh.
is. I'm just trying to figure out a side door way to do the stuff I need to do quickly with the iOS part of it.
The only reason I mention it is because people want their. I mean, for a long time I could only afford an iOS device, and it was pretty slow on iOS. But now it is a lot
good.
faster. If that is your jam, especially with
I hate fast apps.
like you wanted the even like the little toggle thingies, like when I want to look at a big long ass
I know what
stupid
you're talking
list.
about.
Yeah.
You'll notice a speed bump. Or sorry, wow, that's a funny word. That's one of
It
those.
is.
That's one of those things like oversight that means two things.
Bump.
Bump, bump.
Yeah, but also just opening it used to take forever, even if you only had text files. And now I'm just talking about Mac OS as well.
Yeah, I noticed a toggle in there that seemed related to that. They had a toggle that sounded a little bit like a funny strap on. There was something like, rebuild this. What was it? Something doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's a bunch of indexing.
General, under maybe
stuff.
general. Here's one. Notify if startup takes longer than expected.
Yeah.
That on.
Yes.
I want to know.
forgot
I want to
about
know if it
that
takes
one,
too long. Tell me about that.
Yes. But
I'm glad we did this.
Yeah. That was all. I just wanted to talk about the changes that people.
I've got a list. I've got a list of things I will be returning. No, we don't have to do it now. But like stuff I'll be, returning to. Let me click over. I'm clicking. I'm going to my Obsidian. I love that it just does YAML right out of the box. That's so cool. One thing that's neat, and again, I'm being so sweaty about this because, I love drafts so much, and I feel like I'm being disloyal to even try a different one. And I don't want to be I don't want to sound weird about it, but I'm so grateful for drafts. And it's not like I'm saying, alas, I must stop using. I'm not saying that at all. Just so we're clear. Lots of things I like. Running stock looks pretty great.
In fact, drafts has amazing actions.
Oh,
to
that's
get
so
things
fucking funny you should
into
say that.
Obsidian.
It's so funny
that's-
you should say that
yeah.
because Chatty G all morning has been helping me so much
Yeah.
with every question I have. So the kinds of questions I was asking Chatty G, is there a way to change the bullet style, And I realized that, if you just go into the not browse mode, source mode, it's kind of like in Simplecast when you flip between the two. What were some real ones though? And then it shows me how to do that with CSS. Let's see, daily notes. Oh yeah. I said YAML in Obsidian. And it's like, yep, YAML front matter is fully supported. And it's like, it just works. But what's nice is it also gives you a little GUI for it. It's not, I like that you can see it as just text, but when I paste in my secret Brits table, it looks like a table. And I have to admit, that's pretty cool. It gave me
Oh,
several
I forgot to
different-
mention that. Yes. Sorry. Explain, say why the YAML is better now for people who wouldn't even know what YAML is.
YAML's a neat thing. It's probably yet another markup language, I think it means. But YAML is a lightweight. I could have sounded really fucking smart, and I forgot the phrase. I always forget. Not bonded pair, twisted pair. What's it called? When you've got, it's like in JSON or whatever. You've got something : this. It's like normalized data, and instead of having to do full on, HTML headers with quotes and everything, you can just say something like title : space. This is my document. Date : space 2025-04-02. Right. And that's neat. And that's great. You can do that in most apps. Will have support for YAML inside of even a markdown document. What's neat is you can see this as raw YAML, but it can also show it as a sort of a GUI where it looks almost like a little table, but you can also say have it in there, but don't show it to me. I like
all of those options. And the reason I say it here, and this is where I start to feel like I'm being a bad friend, is like I do like writing things and posting things. And I think it's neat that like this can be a more formal home for a text file.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Like with
Drafts
drafts,
is
I don't
the
have
whole
a
thing
file.
is
I don't have
why-
yeah, exactly.
They say it, Greg. I think the marketing for the app is brilliant. It's where text starts,
Yes.
and it's a really
Where do we get to the
powerful.
funniest one of these? I said how to show document links. Do I need a plugin? It helped me with that. Keyboard command for moving lines up and down.
Wait, you forgot an important thing
No, I
with
didn't.
the YAML. It's called properties now. Like it's the GUI. You don't just see it as like a
It's got like a drop down.
but you can also edit it via it can also be like a WYSIWYG. You don't need to edit the YAML as if it is just markdown, and it will then it will still reflect the changes via YAML if you open it via just
And
text
we should
edit
probably
or
say like
something.
why would you use YAML? Well, like for example, on my Blot blog, which also plays nice with YAML, that means that stuff like draft : yes or draft : no are functional. Or like, the title that I give that document is the title that it'll have on the Blot blog post. And it's smart. So if I have the date be a future date, it'll publish it later rather than now. And you're doing all that with text. You're not hitting buttons or anything. It's nice. It's lightweight. Here's the one I thought you would enjoy. Is there an easy way to add things from Safari on Mac? And it gives me 3 things.
Yes.
Okay. Number 1, use a share extension like Obsidian Web Clipper via Bookmarklet or Apple Shortcuts. And it tells me how to do that. Let me skip number 2 for now. Number 3, use a bookmarklet for quick clipping. It gives me that bookmarklet. I paste it in. You know what number 2 is? Use drafts as an inbox bridge. And this is, I hate this. ChatGPT is stealing my job. It knows I love drafts. And so it says, use drafts as an inbox bridge. And it says, everybody, open your fucking ears. Since you already use drafts, : Number 1, you can share from Safari to drafts, and in drafts, run an action. This is why I love computers in one place. Where everybody else is so fucking mad about everything. And I'm like, hey, this thing knows I use drafts. It knows I love it. It includes it in my I Spy photos of my office that I make the word drafts and due by Friday up here. Jonesy, which is the cat from Alien and also the name of my computer, appears in those. Anyhow, use drafts as an inbox bridge. Then send that to Obsidian. That seems like a pretty roundabout way. Do you have a bookmarklet or this Clipper thing? How do you do it?
I use the, I guess, official Obsidian Web Clipper.
Beep boop.
And
Where do you get
this
that?
is actually, it's in the App Store, the macOS App Store, actually.
Okay.
And it's great, too, because it
Oh,
automatically
hell, in that case, that's what I'll use,
creates-
duh.
Yeah, and it creates
Obsidian
all
Web
of the
Clipper.
front matter for you, and
Oh.
it like title,
Bum, 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 bum,
source,
bum.
author, publish date.
Do you get to pick which note it
created
goes to?
date. Yes, you can
Oh.
change it. It automatically creates a clippings folder, but you can change wherever
Perfect.
you want it to go.
I'm living La Vida Loca. I'm fucking down with
Yeah.
this shit. Obsidian is made by
Yeah.
Dynalist Incorporated. Do they have any other apps on here? Do we see? More
I
by
believe that
Dynalist
is-
Companion Clipper. What's that? What's
Oh,
Dynalist?
maybe I'm wrong.
No. I got it. I just grabbed it. Dynalist Companion Clipper. Clip and capture to your Dynalist. Okay, that sounds like a made-up thing. I'm going to close that. I've gotten this. I'm excited, Alex. I'm going to keep playing with this. And don't. Oh, wait a minute. You might also like Actions for Obsidian. What that? Actions for is in the App Store. Whoa, Actions. Have you seen this?
Yes, that. What is Actions for Obsidian, Merlin? Yes.
Oh, I'd be happy to tell you. It says here on my computer set. It says Actions for Obsidian integrates the personal knowledge management tool Obsidian with Apple's automation ecosystem. Nice. That's very approachable. Thank you. With 40 plus shortcut actions, it brings your notes and automations together, making Obsidian a first-class citizen gross in Apple Shortcuts app. Used to bring information from other apps into your... Okay, all right, I'm getting this. I'm clicking. I'm going to buy it. All right, I'm in. 4.9 out of 5 stars. I got over 10,000 5-star reviews.
Is this a bit? Did you?
Yeah, it is.
Good
It's
job.
a bit because
Good
there's no
job,
way to check
Merlin.
that. That's just something people say in ads now. I heard you got over
Oh,
10,000 5-star reviews. Really?
Oh,
And $7 will get you a cup
good
of
for
coffee.
you.
Big guy. I love you.
Obsidian.